So we spoke about Shador, but we can't speak
Right.
about Shador without speaking about his father and also speaking about Travis Hunter. Um,
Hmm.
I get these comments, or at least from my friend group about like they think I don't like Travis Hunter for some reason. I'm like, bro, it's not
Hmm.
that I don't like Travis Hunter. I don't like how he has to be used in Colorado. I
Hmm.
do not like the fact that he has to play this much. And realistically, whether you think he's a guy that can be like a top five pick, which I do believe, or you think he could be a guy that could possibly compete for a Heisman, which is possible, he it's hard for me to see him making it throughout the year if he's gonna have to play this much. And I think the problem for me is that with all the recruiting, with all the talk that's been done by Dion and his crew, we have not seen them be able to put enough talent on the field that doesn't require Travis Hunter to still have to come save the
Hmm.
day. Like he cannot be your wide receiver one and be your lockdown corner. It just
Yeah.
cannot
Yeah.
happen.
Hmm.
Like there has to be a way to figure out like, hey, how do we put him on a pitch count? He had like, a pitch count is necessary for a guy that's playing this much ball. And I think I'm looking at this and I'm saying, look, if he has to continue to play this much, this is a failure on the coaching staff and
Hmm.
nobody else. They have
Hmm.
to be held accountable for this. Cause I mean, like, there's a real chance, man, that knock on wood, we don't want anybody to get hurt or even. I really don't even want to speak about anybody getting hurt, but there's a real possibility, bro, that you ruin a guy if you can't find a way to give him some type of break somewhere
Right.
along the way. I just want to know what your thoughts were about his usage and how Dion's going to try to continue to use him moving forward.
I think there needs to be a limitation to one or the other. Either you gonna limit him on defense or you gonna limit him on offense. Me personally, I think, and it's tough because he's good on both. You know what I'm saying? But it's like for me, I would limit him more on offense, and I think Shador has to be able to find like other options on offense, which he does. But like his number one is Travis Hunter, obviously. But if you need somebody down in the stretch, you get what I'm saying. You already have a playmaking Shador who can make plays, to anybody on that offensive front. But you need a guy who's going to be a lockdown corner. You need a guy who's going to be a number one corner, and that is Travis Hunter. I think Coach Prime has to find a way to utilize him in a system where it's like we can use you to give us a balance, and that's on offense. And pretty much on defense, it's like, okay, we're going to utilize you more to be more of a number one lockdown corner. It just has to happen. I don't know why it hasn't happened like so far. I think because the media has been so big on him and they like seeing him being a dual threat that it's like, all right, cool, he's good for, even for him, he's like, all right, cool, like I can play both sides of the ball. But you got to think about the long term as well. When you go take that next level, like what are you more comfortable doing? What do you want to do? You know what I'm saying? In the NFL, it's much harder to play two both sides of the ball than it is in any level of football. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not gonna fluctuate like that. It's just not gonna happen. So I think he has to realize, like, as a player, what do I need to be more consistent at, as a corner or as a receiver? Me personally, I think as a corner. I think he's more efficient as a cornerback. I think he's more dynamic as a cornerback. I think he makes better plays as a cornerback. He's more explosive as a corner. He's one of the most explosive quarterbacks we've seen in a minute. And you have to be able to utilize that. Like you have to be able to acknowledge, is that what you have? That is your strong. And it sucks because him as a receiver, he's strong a receiver, but your strong point
It's
is a cornerback.
it's D. I'm gonna tell you something, bro. You would be surprised by how many people I feel like don't agree with what you just said, even though I do. Like I agree with everything you just said about him, about his strongest position being corner, and people, people love offense. People love the offense side of the ball. They want to see points be scored, but when you get to the league, I don't think that Travis Hunter is nearly the receiver he is as he is corner. Like you said, because of his athleticism and his physical gifts that he has, brother, he is a bona fide lockdown corner if he completely locks in on being such. As a
Hmm.
receiver, as a receiver, he reminds me of Justin Jefferson as a receiver. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms of the smoothness of how he runs routes, in terms and like they run their routes with a certain level of, there's a sense of urgency, but there's also like how they move. It feels very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Everything kind of, everything looks kind of moves like water almost. You know, these guys kind of smoothly in and out of cuts and everything like that. But Justin Jefferson obviously is a bona fide receiver, a guy that works at the craft, and I think that for Travis Hunter to ever be the great receiver that he wants to be, or what he would have to completely lock in on that side of the ball. Defensively,
Mm-hmm.
I do believe he's kind of already there. He just needs to sharpen things up. I think if he played more consistently on that side of the ball,
Right.
there would be no questions about who is the number one corner coming out. Mind you, he is arguably top. He'd probably be top five at corner right now. Like if like
Mm-hmm.
right now,
If he's
if I
stuck
ranked them,
with being a corner,
if he's stuck with
if
being a
he's
corner,
stuck
he's
with being a
top
corner,
five.
I think he's
The
yeah top
only kid I
five.
think is better. The only kid I think that would have him beat is the kid from Michigan, Will Johnson. He's the
Yeah,
only guy that I'm like, that's like the one legit. I'm like, he probably got you. But
yeah.
a receiver, I don't know. I would have to do a little bit more digging because I gotta. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
receivers
There's a
everywhere in
lot of
college football.
receivers
So
out there. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
I would have to dig a bit more, but he could probably be within the top 10 of that group, top
Right.
10, top 15 of that group.
Right.
So I mean, he's
Right.
clearly this guy is a guy that you want to take and get your hands on, but you're gonna legitimately have to ask him like, what is it that you want to be long term in your career? Because that's gonna be because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, truthfully, I think he's gonna be a receiver because the money is in that receiver room. It would be
Mm-hmm.
looking at the money that guys are
Absolutely.
getting now. Guys are getting 30 M's a year now playing receiver. Cornerback money still is a bit behind for that other side for the other side of the ball. It's still not as lucrative to be a corner than it is a receiver. Even though them both are
Right.
getting bread. I'm looking at 30 M's
It
guaranteed a
ain't.
year. I'm looking at what
Yeah.
Tyree gets.
Yeah.
Look at what Devontae gets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I look at the deal CD
Yeah.
just got. I'm probably gonna lean towards receiver if I'm Travis Hunter and
Right.
I'm
Right.
and I'm
Right.
coming out
Right.